Networking components. Now a computer network is built up of several components, and these components together make it possible to transfer data from one device to another and make smooth communication between two different devices. And these network devices, the components are: first, network interface card, NIC, NIC. Then we have hubs, switch, wireless access points and routers. Now first is a NIC. Now NIC is actually called network interface card. Now this is used to connect your machine, your device to the LAN network, and sometimes it is also called LAN network, LAN card also. Now it looks like this, where there is a chip behind it, and this is the connection port which you can use to connect into the PCI slot, and here is the port where you can connect your network cable. Now basically in old days, these network adapters, these NICs were not included with your computers. It is not included with your motherboard. It was not inbuilt into your motherboard. So in old days, when you want to have your machine to connect to the network, connect to the LAN network, then we have to attach the card like this. These were the cards. These were comes as a card, and you have to attach it into the PCI slot. Nowadays network is very important, so in every device, every computer, every machine, what we have the inbuilt NICs. We have inbuilt NICs. It is not connected as a PCI slot, it will be inbuilt, and it is inbuilt into the motherboard. So nowadays it is actually called network adapters, because or we can say also network ports. But basically in old days it was called network interface card, because it comes as a card to attach into the PCI slot to get the network extension, or to get the network capabilities to connect your device into network. So nowadays what we have the inbuilt in the network port, we can say, or network adapter inbuilt into the motherboard. One port is already inbuilt. Now if we want to have more than one port, then again we can use these interface cards to connect into PCI slot to get more interfaces. Now types of network interface card we have. So when we see the types of network interface card, so first we have the wired network interface card that comes as a port in our machines nowadays. So there is a NIC that have input jack made for cables, and the most popular wide LAN technology is Ethernet. So you can see in the image, this one is a wired LAN card, while we can say wired NIC or network adapter, network port, which inbuilt into our motherboard. Then we have wireless. And these are the NICs that uses an antenna to provide the wireless reception through radio frequency waves, and wireless NICs are designed for Wi-Fi connections. So when you want to connect your device as a wireless to the network, then we have to have the wireless NIC, that is wireless NICs, that is the wireless network interface card. Nowadays what we have in our mobile devices or laptop devices, we have the inbuilt network, these wireless interface card also inbuilt into the motherboard. But if your desktop machine or old machine, if you use a desktop machine, it is not inbuilt. So you have to get this card and connect it into PCI slot with the antenna, so that you can get the wireless capability in your desktop machine. But nowadays in laptop or mobile, we have the inbuilt network interface card for the wireless network. Then we have USB. Now USB NICs that provides the network connection through the device plugged into the USB port. So nowadays we have the USB adapter also, which we can use to provide the network interface capabilities. Now we can have a wired USB LAN port. We have wired USB LAN adapter. That means what it will do, it will convert USB port into network adapter port, NICs. That means in the one side you will connect into USB port, and the other side it will connect the RJ45 jack, RJ45 connector. Then we have the wireless USB adapter also. It will do what? You will connect this into your USB port, and it will make this it will give you the wireless NIC into your system. If suppose your system does not have wireless input, wireless adapter or wireless port or wireless NIC, then what we can do, we can actually use this, connect into PCI slot inside the system, or you can just use the USB adapter that you will connect into USB port, and it will give you the wireless connectivity. Then we have fiber optic. Fiber optics, these are expensive and more complex NICs that are used in the high speed support system for network traffic handling over server components. Because the server devices needs the high bandwidth, we can use the fiber optic cable for that. Because servers are serving a lots of services, it needs more bandwidth, so fiber optic network can give up to 10 Gbps bandwidth. And also server can do what? We can combine multiple adapters to get more bandwidth also in server machines. So basically these fiber cables, fiber network fiber NICs are very expensive, so normally we don't use it on our desktop machines. We use it for the server machines. Then the component for the network interface cards. First, speed. All NICs have a speed rating in terms of Mbps that suggests the general performance of the card, and when implemented in a computer network with the ample bandwidth, average Ethernet NICs are often offered in 10 Mbps to 100 to 1 Gbps speed. Then drivers. Now driver, that means this is the required software that passes data between the computer operating system and the NIC. As in our computer, any device we connect, that device needs to have a driver in our operating system. Driver identify that how the device works and what the device can do and what is the capability of the device. Same as the network interface card also is a device when we connect to, when we have this device in our computer. So in our operating system we have to have the driver for that. Then connectivity LEDs will also be there. Most NICs have these LED indicator integrated into the connector to notify the user when the network is connected and data is being transferred. As you can see here, these are the LEDs. Also you can see here, and also you can see in wireless, and also you will see in the network adapter, normal network adapter. Then the unique thing is MAC address. This is a unique unchangeable MAC address. MAC address, that means it is called media access control address. It is unchangeable and also known as physical network address because we can't change it, and it is assigned to a NIC that is used to deliver the Ethernet packet to the computer. So every LAN port, every adapter, every NIC has a unique MAC address, and that is embedded into that physically, and we can say also it is a physical address which we cannot change. Now these MAC addresses or physical addresses is a hardware identification number that uniquely identify each device on the network, and the MAC addresses is manufactured into every network card, and such an Ethernet card or Wi-Fi card, and therefore cannot be changed because there are millions of networkable devices in existence, and each device need to have a unique MAC address. There must be a very wide range of possible address. So for this reason MAC addresses are made up of to 48 bits. That means 6 sets of 2-digit hexadecimal numbers separated by colons. Now remember, we have different numbering system, that is binary, decimal and hexadecimal. In hexadecimal we have numbers from 0 to 9, and after 9 it will start A, B, C, D, E, F, which is having total number of 16 different numbers. So this MAC address is designed into hexadecimal numbers. That is why you will see here, if you see the example of this, it is having 3A, here it is having C4, B8, because it is a hexadecimal number, and this total number is of 48 bits. 48 bits, that means each number having the 4 bits. That means 3 is a 4 bits, A is a 4 bit, total it is 16 bits. Then 16, 16, 16, 16, 16 and 16, it is having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts of 16 bits, and total is 48 bits. So it is a 48 bit address, and it is embedded into the MAC, it is embedded into our physical, it is embedded into our NIC. Now it must be unique because the LAN network, in the LAN network, the communication will happen based on this MAC addresses. Remember, from one device to other device in the LAN network, when the data goes from one device to other device, so the data goes based on these MAC addresses. So these MAC addresses must be unique in the network. So how it is going to be unique? Because a lots of companies are making a lots of devices. So how this will be unique? So it will be unique because it is having a defined unique standard. So it is defined like first 24 bits, like first these three parts are organizationally unique identifier. It is called organizationally unique identifier. Then rest of the 24 bit is called the network interface controller. Now this first 24 bits hexadecimal is called what? Organizationally unique identifier, and is given by the IEEE. And last 24 bit is hexadecimal. It is called network interface card, which is managed by a hardware vendor itself. And this is why MAC addresses are unique from every NICS. That means IEEE is the international organization, that is International Electric and Electronic Engineers. And then suppose if I want to open a company, or I want to make a devices for the network. So if I want to make the network devices, then I have to have a physical address in that. That means I have to add the MAC address into my devices. So I have to get first 24 bit from IEEE. So IEEE will give me the first 24 bit, and the first 24 bit which it has never given to any other company. So every company has a different first 24 bit, and within the company, when I make the different devices, so I will make sure these rest of the 24 bit will be different for each devices. So if you want to know that your MAC address is of which company, then you can just see the first 24 bit. First 24 bit will identify the company. So if suppose you want to see what MAC address you have in your device, so to know your MAC address, your device MAC address, you will open the CMD and give command get MAC. It will show you the MAC address of your device. So I have two interfaces here. One is this, one is a wired network, one is a wireless network. So I have these two MAC addresses. Now I want to know which company MAC address is this. Then I can go on to search, easy search on the net. So I can get the interface, like for example, I will go to Google and I will say MAC address lookup, and let's say I will open the first this search MAC address vendor lookup. And I will do what? I will copy this first MAC address and paste here. It gives me the detail of my MAC address, about the company and everything. Company address, company is Dell in company, you can see, and it is getting it by only first 24 bits. As you can see, 54 48 10, 54 48 10. So by using this first 24 bit, it knows that this is from Dell. And for suppose the second address what I have, I will copy this second address and I will try to find what company address is this. So this is from Hon High Precision Industries Cooperative Limited. Okay, so this is because of this first 24 bit. As you can see, 9032 4B, it is coming from 1932 4B, first 24 bit. They have the border left, border right, you can see here. From here to here, it is given by the IEEE, the range of the MAC addresses they have. This company, it is also showing me the address of the company also. So this is how these MAC addresses are unique for the LAN card. Now the second device that we have is hub. Now hub is what? It is a receive transmission from connected device and transmit the signal to the other connected devices. Hubs are very simple. It receives the signal from one port and send it to all the other ports. It works like a broadcast device. It works like a transmission device only. Okay, so hub was actually used in the star topology, if you remember. The star topology, where hub is the centralized device, centralized controller, and all the other devices are connected to this hub directly. It is used in the star topology. Now hub do what? It do work very simple. It is basically a transmission device which does not understand anything. It just used to transmit the data. That means if suppose one device wants to send the data, so it will go to hub because it's the star topology. Now hub receive the data from this port and it will do what? It will forward the data to every other port. Except for this port, it will forward the data to every other port. That means this port also, this port also, this port also, and this port also, and it will transfer to this port also. That means every other port. It is like it is doing the broadcast. It is doing the broadcast, it is getting the data from one port and forwarding it to all the other ports. Now, because it does not read anything, it does not understand anything, we also call it a dumb device. It used to only do the transmission. Now, because it is like, you can say, it is doing what? It is working like a bus topology. Bus topology, that means if suppose one device is sending a data to the other device, so it is occupying the whole network, it is occupying the whole cable, and nobody else can do anything in that time. So it is what? It is working like a bus topology. Remember I told you, when we were using the hub in the star topology, it looks physically star, but it works like a bus topology. And it also uses the same technology CSMA/CD, because the collisions can happen here, and before sending the data, every every device has to sense the cable whether any data is going on or not, and it do broadcast the data to every other devices. So hubs do what? It do like this, and because of this it uses the CSMA/CD. Now one more thing, it is called collision domain or broadcast domain. Now collision domain, two or more devices sharing the same bandwidth are said to be in a single collision domain. Now collision domain, that means when the collision happens, because it is working like a bus topology, so collision can happen, and when the collision happens, so how many devices will get affected? It is called the collision domain. And broadcast domain, that means the broadcast, when it sends the broadcast to which devices, how many devices will reach the broadcast. So broadcast domain is a logical part of a network segment in which any network equipment can transmit data directly to another equipment or device without going through the routing device. That means without going to the routing device, how many devices it can reach. So single broadcast and collision domain. Now this hub actually is a single collision domain and single broadcast domain. Now what that means? That means if suppose it is working like a bus topology, if suppose the collision happens, if suppose two devices sends the data at the same time and the collision happens, so these devices will send what? They will send the jam signal, and jam signal will also go broadcast to everywhere, and all the other devices will have to wait. That means all the devices will be affected. So the single hub is called a single collision domain. Now if suppose one device sends the broadcast, so the broadcast, whether they are broadcasting or not, the every data will go to every other device. By default it do the broadcast. So by default we can say a single hub can also be called as a single broadcast domain. Now if we have multiple hubs, so remember, single hub is a single broadcast and collision domain. Now if suppose I connect these two hubs through a cable, now what happened? If anything, if suppose the collision happens on this hub, so it will also send, jam signal will also send to the other hub also by using this cable. And this machine, in this hub also, all the device have to wait. That means all the device of the other hub will also be affected. If it is connected to this one also, that means this hub will also be affected. So if suppose we have 3 devices or multiple hubs, like more than 1 2 3 4 or 10 20 whatever, so they will be called as a single collision domain. Whether we have a single hub or multiple hub, if they are connected, we can call them as a single collision domain, because when the collision happens, so these all devices will be affected. Again, if they are connected together and we have a broadcast, every time whatever any machine send, they will be do as a broadcast. So broadcast will reach to everyone. So we can also say a single hub or connected multiple hubs are also be called as a single broadcast domain. But if we have not connected, like these 3 hubs we have, they are not connected together, so they will remain separate broadcast domain and separate collision domain also. So this will be a 3 broadcast domains and 3 collision domains. But when they are connected, they can be they will call as a single broadcast and collision domain. And also, because hub does not do anything, does not understand anything, it works on the first layer of OSI model. It is actually works on physical layer where it does not do anything, it only transmit the data. So functionality for the hub is multi-port repeater, we can say. Repeater is also a device when it was used in the bus topology. When suppose we are putting the cable and cable range is 100 meter and we want to send the data more than 100 meter, then we put one repeater in between. And repeater will do what? It will amplify the data and send it to more 100 meter. So basically it do what? Take input from one port and send output to the other port by amplifying the data. Same thing hub is doing also. So it is only what hub has multiple ports, and repeater has only 2 port, input and output. So hub is also called multi-port repeater. Then typically used in the network with the star topology, but works like a bus topology. Hubs are known as a concentrators. Hub works at the first layer of the physical OSI physical layer, that is of the OSI model. And in case of hub bandwidth, it is a shared and not switched, and the bandwidth will be shared. That means if the hub says it is giving 100 Mbps speed, that means it will be shared with all the devices connected. That is why in hubs we don't have multiple ports. It has more than 4 or 6 ports, 4 or at least maximum 6 ports only. Then hub is a single broadcast domain, and also it is a single collision domain. Then we have switches. Now because of the hub have problems, it makes the network slow, we got switches. And before the switches, actually we got the bridges, and the switches is actually advanced versions of bridges. So the bridge device, first the bridge device comes, and this switches is the advanced version of the bridge device. In the configuration of switches, still it is also called bridge. Like it is ID for the switch, it is not called switch ID, it is called bridge ID. So in the configuration, most of the times it is called bridge, still it is called bridge, because it is the advanced version of the bridges. So if you understand how it works, how the bridge works, so we can understand how the switch works also. Topology. Now this is what the bus topology. In the time of bus topology, bridges was there. Now bridges do what? It is a device, like suppose we have a bridge device added here. Now bridge device do what? It actually divide your single network into multiple segments. So suppose we have bridge here, we have bridge here, and also we have bridge here. Now what it is doing here, it is actually dividing your single network into multiple segments. Remember what happened in the bus topology, when suppose one device wants to send data to any other device, then what happened? Any other device, then what happened? All the signals will go all the way everywhere, That means it will occupy the whole network and no other machine can do anything. Now to solve this, what they do, what the technology introduced, what the bridges. Now bridges do what? It divide these into multiple segments. Now how we do here? In the first segment we have these three devices, other segment we have these three devices, in this segment we have these devices, in this segment we have these devices. We can say that this one is a segment 1, segment 2, segment 3, and this is what? Segment 4. So what we do here, if suppose this device wants to send the data to this device, then what? The data will go here and it will go to everywhere, like it will go to this side also, it will go to this machine also, it will go to this side also, it will go to this machine also. Now the data is for this machine, so this machine will accept the data, but when the data try to go to this side to occupy the cable of this side also, then what? The bridge will check the data. It will say the data is coming from segment 1 and it is also going to segment 1. So no need to send the data to other segments. Now what is the benefit? At the same time, now these other devices can do the communication. That means these devices can do the communication at the same time while these two devices are doing the communication. It was not possible in the bus topology. Then if suppose this device wants to send the data to this device directly, so when the data goes, it goes here, it goes here, it goes to this device, everywhere in this segment. When it reaches to the bridge, so bridge will check that the data is coming from segment 1 and it wants to go to segment 4 because that device is in segment 4 where the data is want to go. So it will do what? It will bridge the data, it will bridge the devices, the bridge the communication from here to there. Then it will go here in this segment, it will go to this machine, it will go to this machine, it will go to this machine also. Nobody will accept, this machine will accept. But at the same time, these segment 2 and 3 is free to do the communication. And it is doing what? It is bridging the data from segment 1 to segment 4 directly. And that is why it is called the bridge device. In old days, there was only a few number of segments, but segments was increased in when the technology increased. Now how it is doing this? How it is possible that the data is going from segment 1 to 4 or only remain in segment 1? Because the bridge devices are the intelligent device. What they do, they do what? They actually create the table inside their memory. Inside the bridge device, there is a memory for the CAM table. It is called content addressable memory. Now what they do in this, they do what? They create the table of the different segments. For example, here we have 4 segments, so it create the table for all these segments. And inside these segments, it will have the information about the MAC addresses. That means that physical addresses of the NIC, what the MAC addresses we have in these particular segments. Now how they know this? Now when suppose this first machine send the data to this machine, so when this machine try to send, so in the source that means who is sending the data, in the source this machine's MAC address will be there as a source, and as a destination this machine's MAC address will be there in the data. So when the data goes on the network, it will go to everywhere. When it reaches to this device, the data belongs to this device, it reaches there, so the device will see that what is the destination MAC address. It says it is my destination MAC address, so it accepts the data. This machine will not accept the data because the destination MAC address is not of this machine. Now the same data when reaches to the bridge, remember hub does not read anything, it is a dumb device, but the bridge do what? It reads the packet, it open the packet and see what is the source MAC address and what is the destination MAC address. So first it sees when the table is empty, there is no entry in this, we have just started the bridge, then what it do? It will enter the source MAC address. Remember source means where the data is coming. So it will enter the source MAC address into the segment where the data is coming. That means this MAC address belongs to this segment. Now the destination MAC address it does not know because the table is empty. So this time it will do what? It will actually broadcast it to everywhere. It will not do bridging, it will not do anything, it will broadcast to everywhere, and the data will be accepted by the destination machine where the data belongs. But the next time when every device do the communications, so by the source address it will create the whole MAC address table. That means in the CAM table it will have now all the MAC addresses of the every devices. So it knows that in the segment 1 we have these 3 devices, in segment 2 we have these devices, in segment 3 we have these devices. So when it knows that which device belongs to which segment by using the CAM table, then what, when this device send the data, so it will only go to this device in this segment, and when it tries to go to other segment, then which says okay, this device is only belong to this segment, it will not go to other segment. But when this machine send data to this machine, so bridge will see that the sending device is from segment 1 from the CAM table, and it says the sending and receiving device, the destination MAC address is belong to segment 4. So it will bridge the data to directly segment 4. So by using the CAM table and by reading the MAC address, source and destination MAC address of the data, it knows the data is coming from which machine and want to go to which machine. But when someone send the broadcast, it will do the broadcast. Broadcast will be broadcast, but it will not do the sending the data by using it will not send the unique data, unicast data. That means one-to-one communication will not go to broadcast. Now when the technology increased, each device will be in the different segment. Now we have multiple bridge, that means dividing each device, each port into a different segments. Now that means what? If these 2 devices are doing the communication, so only these 2 devices will be busy and the other device will be free to do the communication. And now I will make this as a device. So this is what the bridge device, and each machine which I am talking are connected to a separate port, and inside it is divided into multiple segments. These every ports are divided into a separate segments. So when these and CAM table have now multiple segments, like port segment 1, 2, 3, how many ports we have, that many segments we have for the bridge device. So when 2 devices do the communication, only these 2 segments will be busy. That means only these 2 ports will be busy, only these 2 devices will be busy. Other devices, other ports can do still the communication. This is what the bridge, and the new is the advanced version of this bridge is actually the switch. But the switch works similar to this. It is not a different. It works similarly, like it do create the CAM table. It has a CAM table. It reads the CAM table when the devices do the communication, and after the communication, when the CAM table is empty, it will do the broadcast. But when the CAM table is full, then it will not do the broadcast. It only do the unicast. And it works similarly like the bridge. But what is the difference between the bridge and switch? Nowadays we don't use the bridges because the switches are faster than the bridges. So switches is faster than the bridges. Why? Because for bridges, the decision for forwarding the data from one port to other port is taken by the only one CPU. It is all based on software. Software if else, like if this then this and that this. It is taken by the decisions are taken by the software loops and decided processed by the single processor. But in the switches, in a switch, each port has their own unique IC. It is called ASIC, is application specified IC. So for the decision of the switching is taken by the each port itself. So it do basically, we can say the bridges do the software based switching and the switches do the hardware based switching. So it is different it is the switches are faster than the bridges. So nowadays we don't use bridges, we use actually switches, but the working of the bridges, the switches are same as the bridges. Also, switches and bridges both do the broadcast. If we have single switch or bridge, they will be the single broadcast domain, and if we connect multiple, then again it will be the single broadcast domain. Remember, it will do the broadcast. If suppose someone send the broadcast, it will do the broadcast. So broadcast, it is a single broadcast domain, whether we have a single switch or multiple switch connected, it will call as a single broadcast domain. But for the collusion, there is no collusion happens in this bridges or switches, because this is doing unicast, it is not doing broadcast. So it is called a per port collusion domain. That means if suppose happen the collusion happens on any other port of bridge or switch, then it will remain or affect only that port, it will not do affect any other ports of the bridges or switches. So each port of the bridge or switch, it is called collusion domain itself. So switch functionalities are like switches are multi-port bridges. So it is a multi-port bridges, it is an advanced version of bridge. Switch works at the data link layer of OSI model because it can read the MAC addresses of source and destination. And in case of switch, bandwidth is switched, not shared. And also it is switched, that means when it says 100 Mbps switch, that means each and every port will give you the 100 Mbps speed up to 100 Mbps. So it is switched, it is not bridged, it is not shared like a hub. And switch is a single broadcast domain because by default it do the broadcast, but the switch breaks the collusion domain into multiple per port collusion domains. So every port of the switch is itself a collusion domain. Then the next is wireless access point. This is what is used in a wireless network. In a this wireless access point allow the mobile users wireless devices to connect to a wired network without physical wire links via radio frequency technology. Wireless APs is a data link layer device, and that contains both a receiver, transceiver and a wireless communication, and a jack for the connection to a LAN using twisted pair or fiber optic cable. So it is just do what it use the extension. It is an extension of wired network to wireless. So after you connect the wireless access point to a cable network, wireless device within the range of the WAP like wireless access point transceiver can communicate with the system on the cable network using the wireless access point as a conduit. The result is that the wireless device function as through they are part of the cable network. A hotspot is a common public application of APs where wireless clients can connect to the internet without regard of the particular network to which they have attached for the movement. So this wireless APs, it actually work like a switch to connect wired network to the wireless devices, work like a switch for the wireless devices, but it actually not work like a switch, it actually work like a hub. Because there is no guided network, there is no wire to connect devices, the network will be transferred from broadcast. So the devices will broadcast the signal to AP and AP will broadcast the signal to devices. So it actually do work like a hub. Then we have routers. Now routers connect two or more logical separate networks. Logical separate network like divided by the IP network. So each network is identified by its network addresses and logical name assigned to it. So network addresses, that is the IP addresses. Each network is a network, inter-network must be assigned to a unique network address. And router has a lot more capabilities than other network devices such as hub or switch that are only able to perform basic network functions. For example, hub is often used to transfer data between computers or network devices but does not analyze or do anything with the data, and it is the data it is transferring. By contrast, the router can analyze the data being sent over a network, change how it is backed and send it to another network or over a different network. So actually the routers will do what it can do more than the normal devices, switches and hub. It can actually verify and check the data, and also it send the data from one segment of network to other segments. So if suppose we have two segments of network, then you have to, if you want to connect them, then you can use the router, and it can also analyze the data. Switches are used only to connect the single segment data. Single segment in the signals, connect the network into the single segment. So routers operations are typically much more processing intensive than bridges, and as a result their processing speed generally measured in packets or blocks of data and forward per second, because it have to do more things. It is are not usually as high, and routers are capable of much more sophisticated path selection. The decision to buy a bridge or a router hinges on specific requirement and the specific network environment. So basically router decides the route. It is actually to choose the path from one segment of network to other segment of network. Like when you have these kind of network where you have these segments, like this is what a single segment which is connected to a bridge, the other segment which is connected through the switch, and also we have the other segment which is connected to wireless or other devices. Now we want to connect all these different segments together, then we have to use the router. Then also router will use to connect these different local segments to the internet or WAN connections, to decide the path for this to reach to the other continent or other WAN network area. So this is what the router is used to do a lot more thing than normal bridges and switches. And these are the devices and network components we have for the network.